Good morning, everybody, and happy Sunday. It is me, Caitlin, and it is time for another recap/review of the latest episode of The Mandalorian. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching last week's review and recap of The Heiress, which is one of my favorite episodes. It was so good. I was so happy to see Bo-Katan, and not just Bo-Katan, Katie Sackhoff. I love how they did it. I love how they brought her to life. I love the fact that they went and got the original voice actress. It makes me think because Katie Sackhoff looked so perfect as Bo. I'm starting to think that maybe when they designed the character of Bo for Clone Wars, they actually based her a little bit off of Katie Sackhoff because she looked perfect as Bo. So it was so good to see her. I was so happy to have officially that Bo-Katan is alive. She is well, and she is working to free Mandalore and unite her homeworld once again. It makes me really excited. And like I said last week, I don't think we're done with that particular plot line yet. I do have a feeling that maybe towards the end of the series, we will actually be going to Mandalore and probably seeing Bo again, probably seeing the Night Owls again, and seeing that fight to finally free Mandalore once and for all and bring it back to its glorious days, which would be really, really exciting to see. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of Mandalorians. They're one of my favorite characters. They're some of my favorite characters in Star Wars, obviously. So I was really, really happy to see Bo and know that she's still around, she's still kicking, and there's still a lot of Mandalorians out there ready to fight for their home world. So I was really, really happy to see it. It was awesome. It was great, and a lot of people thought that was a really great episode. Slightly disappointed. It was just over 30 minutes, you guys. It was kind of disappointing. You know, we've had the first two episodes, chapters 9 and 10 were really great episodes. They were nice and long. They were awesome. And then we get to chapter 11, which has Bo in it, and it's like 32 minutes. And it's like, really? So that was kind of sad. But it was still a really great episode. I think they were able to do a lot in that 32 minutes. It was so nice. It was so fun to see. So this week we are on to chapter 12, which is titled The Siege. And this week's episode was directed by Carl Weathers. And it was written by Jon Favreau. So another great episode. Jon Favreau has just done, I think, amazing with Star Wars, but I didn't have any doubts in him to begin with because he did do the Iron Man movies and he did really well with those. So, needless to say, I was not worried about Jon Favreau doing The Mandalorian. I'd seen what he'd done with Marvel and he did excellent. He did best he could with The Lion King. So I really trusted him, and I'm so happy to see that my trust has paid off. He is doing amazing. So, The Siege. This is chapter 12. So, last time after they were leaving Trask, and we saw that the Razor Crest had seen better days. Once again, everybody, spoiler alerts are in effect. So, obviously, Crest has seen better days. It's literally falling apart at the seams. They're trying to get to this forest planet where Bo told them Ahsoka Tano is. The ship isn't going to make it that far. How do we know this? Well, Mandalorian has gotten desperate enough that he has taken the child, stuck him in a little tunnel, and has the child rewiring the ship. Unfortunately, the child, though he is 50 years old, is still a baby. He's a toddler. So he's not quite grasping everything, and Mandalorian is being so patient, saying over and over, put the red wire where the blue wire was and put the blue wire where the red wire was. He is being so patient. He's not losing his temper, which my heart is melting because here's this big badass warrior, and he is like being so patient with this little toddler. It did remind me of that scene from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 where Rocket is trying to hammer it into Baby Groot's head that you don't press this button. If you press this button, we will all explode. And that's what that scene in The Mandalorian reminded me of because it was just adorable, and the baby did eventually go zee and shock himself, but he was okay. So, they need help to fix the ship. Desperately need to fix the ship. So, where are they close to? Navarro, you guys. Went back to Navarro in this episode, which is awesome. I loved seeing this like kind of little frontier town. And Navarro does kind of like hammer it home, like Grief talks about when Mandalorian gets there. The fact that they are in the Outer Rim. The Outer Rim, and it's been really kind of established in Phantom Menace, they did a really good point on this. In the Outer Rim, galactic laws necessarily don't apply to planets in the outer rim because they are so far out that they don't really stop to think about them. I know I'm rambling. I'm sorry. And that's something hammered home in Phantom Menace when Padme talks about that slavery is illegal, and Smee points out that the Galactic Republic doesn't reach out into the outer rim. The Empire was really, I think, that first galactic force that kind of reached down into the outer rim, and that was because they were kind of obsessed with resources. But when Mando gets there, when Din gets there, I keep calling him Mandalorian, Din, Mando, it changes. When he gets there, Greef has as much love and respect for the New Republic as he does for the Empire. Slightly more for the New Republic, but he really doesn't want the New Republic there. So he meets up with Greef and Cara, and here's where I want to say something really quickly. I know the actress behind Cara Dune has made some really, really, really offensive comments. I do not agree with them. I think they are disgusting. However, I know I'm probably going to get a lot of backlash for this. I do my best to separate the character from the actress. So at this point, I don't associate the actress with that character at all. I don't associate her with the show at all. I'm just there to watch the show. Cara Dune is a really great character. She's a really strong female character. I love her. I do not love the actress that plays her. And I am able to separate that to a degree. Where I can enjoy the character, and I can like the character, and I don't like the actress who plays her. So I'm able to do that. So just so you guys are forewarned, when I talk about liking Cara Dune, I'm talking about Cara Dune, the character. I don't like the actress. Okay, so that's to be clear. So Cara and Greef said, oh yeah, we can fix the ship. Cara's become the marshal. She's the one taking out all the crime and helping the community. And Navarro has changed. When we last saw Navarro, it was kind of a den of bounty hunters and thieves and just the scum and villainy, to put it. But now with Greef and Cara there, it's actually become this very, very respectable little town. There's people, there's crime, but Cara's there and she's taking care of it, and Greef is in charge of everything. So it's kind of become this very respectable town. And they say they will help Mando fix the ship. But they need his help. There is actually an Imperial base on the other side of the planet that is kind of dampening the spirit. So they have this section of the planet carved out that's kind of this free zone. It's where it's safe, people are thriving, it's a community. But they have this shadow of the Empire there, left by Moff Gideon. Greef wants, I think that's how you say his name. I keep forgetting, I just call him the magistrate. Yep, Greef. Greef wants this taken out, and he needs Mando to help. So while they get the ship fit, while the crest is being fixed, Mando decides to go help Greef and Cara. One thing, he can't take the child with them. The solution? Greef and Cara take him to the cantina, which has been transformed into a school, and this is kind of cool because other than Clone Wars, this is kind of the first time we've ever seen what a classroom looks like in Star Wars. In Clone Wars, Ahsoka goes to Mandalore to teach some of the cadets, and we kind of get, and it's kind of in this college-style auditorium classroom. Now we see kind of a different version of school in Star Wars, with this cantina being turned into kind of this one-room schoolhouse. There's kids at desks. There's a droid teacher up at the front with a little board with a map, and they're talking about hyperspace routes and space travel, and it was just really, really cool to see. And they convinced Din to leave the child there at the school. This is where I think people are getting interested. I saw one article online saying that the siege continues to hammer home that Baby Yoda is a brat. Did he act bratty in this episode? Yes. But also remember, again, despite the fact that he is 50 years old, he is still a child. He is still a toddler. I'm saying he's in the terrible twos, which pretty much means any kid is kind of going to be bratty at that stage. How is he a brat in this episode? Well, in this episode, he decides to steal the cookies of a little boy sitting next to him when the boy refuses to share his cookies with him. So again, Baby Yoda, being a typical toddler, uses the Force to get his cookies. So, while Baby Yoda is stealing his new classmates' snacks, Din, Cara, Greef, and actually Mithril journey to this Imperial base. You guys, I was right. When I saw the teaser, I said it looked like we see the first character Din ever caught, which is Mithril, and he is. Grief took him out of Carbon Freeze, and in exchange for paying off his hundreds of years worth of debt to the magistrate, Mithril is working for him in kind of an administrative capacity. And he's getting dragged into this. He doesn't want to go. He's a very funny. I liked him. He was very funny. It was kind of nice having him along. It's like, no, I'm just going to stay here. You get your butt back here. It was kind of funny. It was awesome. I loved it. It was definitely great because this episode was very kind of heavy on the action once they get to the Imperial base. They're able to break into the base, which they had told him was abandoned, only it turns out it's not. So the plan is they're going to break into this base, turn off the coolant lines, and basically let the base explode, which is kind of awesome, number one. So they make it into the base, they're taking on Imperials left and right. They get to the coolant. Mithril is able to kind of inch his way out into the ledge and break it and get it overheated. It did remind me of Obi-Wan in the Death Star in Star Wars, where there's like no safety railings. And Dave Filoni and Pablo Hidalgo, I think, have basically said that there was no safety. There's no OSHA in the Empire. So they are able to do it, and and like I said, this is gonna be a quick one today because it's very, very action heavy. So a lot of the time was spent doing really cool action sequences. But there was a very important moment, and it happens as they're trying to escape. They have 10 minutes to escape the base. As they do this, they come across this room where there's a couple scientists. They take the scientists out, and as they survey the room, they see these weird tanks. I think of them like as weird Bacta tanks, and in each tank is a being. Are the beings alive? Not sure. But we do see these beings in these floating blue tanks. They're kind of horrified, and rightly so. I mean, this is the last thing you would expect to see on a base, Imperial or otherwise, is this tank full of these things. So, I'm going to try to lighten this up here. There we go. A little bit better. Kind of. There we go. I just realized I was kind of, in shadow for a bit. So, hopefully that's kind of better. Sorry, guys. I'm still trying to figure out the vlogging thing with the camera, and it's not working. Okay, so the video is going to be a little shadowy today. I'm sorry. So they see these tanks, of course, and they're horrified, like I said, and they're trying to figure it out. So Mithril is able to hack into the system that the scientists were desperately trying to destroy, and he finds a recording. It's that scientist that we saw from the first season of Mandalorian. The last time we saw him was like in chapter 7. No, earlier than that. So we see him, and he is sending a video to. It's a recording of a call he made to Moff Gideon, where he's talking about M chromosomes and M blood, and he's basically referencing that they are taking blood from the donor with this M stuff in it and transferring it to other beings. And so far the experiments have not been a success. He is now out of blood. He doesn't have a viable donor, and he was too afraid to take a lot of it from the child in case the child died. So they are experimenting. And as soon as I heard M and blood, I immediately knew what was going on. So for those of you who aren't exactly sure what the M means, if you watch this episode, that's actually a reference to midi-chlorians. That was the controversial thing that was added in Phantom Menace in the scene where Qui-Gon explains to Anakin how the Force works. Midi-chlorians are basically found in every life form, and the more that you have, the more Force sensitive you are. So the higher your midi-chlorian count, the more likely you are to be able to become a Jedi or a Sith. So the more midi-chlorians you have, the stronger in the Force you are. That was kind of a little bit of, at the time, and when looking back, it was kind of like a little bit of a controversy, because suddenly it didn't make the Force seem that special. Suddenly it seemed like, well, everybody has it. It's just that the more you have, the more you're able to touch the Force. So I don't think a lot of people are thrilled with that. But they're bringing it back in The Mandalorian. And the blood also got me. And here's the thing. I read a series, and I have it called Jedi Apprentice. Jedi Apprentice was a series that was written by an author named Jude Watson, and it was a tween young kid book series, but it's a really great series. There's a section of like 2 to 3 books in this series where the Jedi are fighting a scientist named Jenna Zan Arbor. Jenna Zan Arbor is kind of obsessed with the Force, and she's trying to study it. And one way she's doing that is she's kidnapping Jedi and torturing them and stealing their blood. And one of the Jedi she kidnaps is actually Qui-Gon Jinn, and she's draining him of his blood so that she can study the Force and see if she can take that blood, transfer it to herself, and thereby be able to access the Force. And this is something she's obsessed with in the series. She's so obsessed with it, she actually kills, if I'm remembering it right, she actually kills the son of one of her friends because she used him as a science experiment. So that is immediately, so when they talked about how they're draining the blood of people who are Force sensitive and transferring it to people who are not, that's immediately what I thought of. So I'm wondering if this part of the plot is they actually got from Jedi Apprentice. That section was a really interesting section of the Jedi Apprentice to read. If you guys haven't yet, I very much recommend that you guys hunt down some copies of the Jedi Apprentice series by Jude Watson and read it. It's a really fun series. Like I said, it is written for kids, so the writing is kind of on the young side. But overall, it's a really fun series, and it's all about Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn and their time together as Master and Apprentice from the time Obi-Wan is 12, just about to turn 13, till he is about 18, early 20s. So it was a really fun series to read. It's really good. And that Jenna Zan Arbor arc was a very interesting arc to read. So this news about what they had planned for the child and what they were doing, that horrifies all of them. Din takes off. They tell him to get the heck out of there, go back to the child because they're recording. Din at this point thinks Moff Gideon's dead. That recording blows out of the water when Mithril reveals that the recording is actually from 3 days ago. Sorry guys, I gotta lighten it up. It's driving me bonkers. Okay. I'm not doing a very good job. I'm sorry everybody. Oh my gosh. I gotta mess around with this one day. There, we'll do that one. So, Din takes off to go save the child. This leaves Kira, Greef, and Mithril to get off the station themselves. So they are running, and suddenly there are stormtroopers everywhere trying to stop them. They get into an old troop transport, and Kira, proving that she is insane and crazy and awesome, again, the character, not the actress, she drives the troop transport right off the edge of the thing. And this is one of my favorite scenes in the entire show, because Kira's sitting there, she's just smiling to herself as they're plunging off the edge. Mithril and Greef are going, ah! And I'm sitting there going, laughing at the 2 men who are scared to death. It was pretty cool, and it definitely harkened back, I feel like, to the days of, like, Return of the Jedi, the scene through Endor where they're on the speeder bikes. It was really good. It was really awesome. They were chasing them through this canyon, first on bikes, where Greef is really able to take out. There was even an Indiana Jones moment where Kara slams the side of the transport into one of the bikes, shoving him into the stones. The TIE fighters came after them, and they were terrified as soon as they reached Navarro. And luckily, to save the day, we have Din in the Razor Crest, all fixed, taking out the TIE fighters. And he has a child, and again, another really cute scene, because Din is like standing the Razor Crest through all these turns and stuff, and there's a child with his cookies, and the child's going, ah, like he's on a roller coaster. It was adorable and cute. They take out the TIE fighters, they save the day, and the child goes, bleh. This is probably why, again, I say this every week, I feel like now, this is not a show meant for kids under the age of 10. It was funny, he's like, uh-oh. Din takes his cape, and he's trying to clean off the child. And Greef and Kara are like, come down, we'll celebrate. And Din's like, no, I've got a situation up here, and I need to get going. So Din leaves to continue his adventure with one upset tummy. And Greef and Kara return to Navarro to live their life. Now, at the end of the episode, we see a New Republic pilot, and I have all the information so I can remember him. Doesn't give a name. The New Republic pilot, after questioning Greef and not getting any answers that he wants, goes to question Kara, and Kara doesn't want to talk to him either. He brings up Kara's past. She was part of the rebellion, and she was from Alderaan. And he even asks her, what? He says, I was at Alderaan. Who did you lose? Kara looks at him and says, I lost everyone, which I think is kind of insensitive to ask someone from Alderaan at this point, or at any point really, who did you lose? Because the answer is probably going to be they lost everyone, or pretty much everyone they knew or cared about. So that was I felt that was really insensitive of the New Republic pilot to ask. He offers Kara the chance to join the New Republic by helping them stamp out crime in the Outer Rim. And he even leaves her a badge to do so. Kara seems kind of tempted at this offer, but I'm not sure she's going to take it exactly. It sounds like in season 1 when she was talking to Mando about her past, that she was kind of drummed out of the New Republic when they finished mopping up in the Imperials and stuff, because there was no work for her, and they didn't really want this like gun trigger happy shock trooper around. So it sounds like the New Republic kind of turned their back on her and left her kind of floundering in the wild, and that's how she became this tough as nails fighter. Like I said, she does seem tempted. Do I think she's going to take up them on the offer? A part of me says yes, but a part of me also says no at the same time. I think she's really enjoying the work she's doing on Navarro. I think she's really liking that lifestyle now. But at the same time, I think maybe she kind of misses the fight, and they're still mopping up after Imperials and stuff, so maybe she'll take it. I don't know. Right now, it's 50-50 either way with her. But then, after that, we quickly jump to a Star Destroyer. And this is where it gets even more interesting. We see a communications officer who, really quickly, she looked like Brie Larson. I didn't realize it until I rewatched the episode, watched the Blind Wave reaction, and I saw people talking about it online. The communication officer we see actually kind of looks like Brie Larson. I don't think that's Brie Larson, and I can't find anything confirming that that was Brie Larson. It just looks like her, and it kind of sounded like her. So I kind of want to say that was Brie Larson, and if that's true, that character really was Brie Larson, that is awesome. Because Brie has never hidden the fact that she loves Star Wars to the point that Samuel L. Jackson brought his Mace Windu lightsaber one day to the set so that she could see it. So she has never hidden the fact that she is a huge Star Wars fan. So that if that is Brie Larson, that is really, 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 really cool. Because she would be another actor who has done both Marvel and Star Wars. Samuel L. Jackson was Mace Windu, and he's Nick Fury. Ming from who was the voice of Mulan, also was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as Agent May, and she played Fennec in season 1 of The Mandalorian. And if this is Brie Larson, now we have Captain Marvel jumping over to Star Wars, which would be awesome. But again, I haven't found anything online to confirm that that was Brie Larson. Anyway, the communications officer takes a call, and it's one of the technicians that worked on the Razor Crest, revealing that the Empire had paid him to plant a tracker on the Razor Crest. She thanks the man, offers him a reward, and goes off to report to Moff Gideon, who's in this weird kind of hold area. And she says that they placed a tracker on the crest, and they will soon be able to get the information they want. Moff Gideon confirms that the asset was with Mando, and it goes very well. Then, as the episode ends, we see Moff Gideon surveying what looks like a bunch of really tall, black, machine-looking figures. I'm not exactly sure what they are. It took me a while. I had to look at some pictures and stuff to figure it out. I don't know if they're droids or if they're people. I think they might actually be people. I'm not sure, but it's really, really interesting. One of the guys in Blind Wave said it reminds him of something from one of the Star Wars video games. So I'm really, really excited to see where that leads. And that was the episode. That was Chapter 12, The Siege. Was a really, really good episode. One of my favorites. A lot of people were saying for them it was better than The Heiress. For me, not so much. Siege was a really, really great episode. It was a fun episode. I will say Siege is currently my number 2 favorite, with The Heiress still being my top, with Redemption still being my top favorite. No, Heiress is my number 1 favorite right now. Redemption is number 2. Siege is kind of right under Redemption, so it's kind of like right here for me. The Heiress is still my favorite episode, and that's probably because I love Bo-Katan. I think she's awesome and amazing, so that is why The Heiress is still my number 1 episode for sure, at least of this season. So that was a siege. Overall, a great episode, very action-packed. I love the cute little moments we got with the child again. And again, I think it's proof that if that the show can still be really, really good and interesting without the child. So yeah, it was a great episode. Next week, I think, is the episode we have all been waiting for. Because next week, rumor is, and everything I am looking at has pretty much confirmed it. Next week, the episode is rumored to be titled The Jedi. Though that title has not officially been confirmed yet, it'll probably be confirmed sometime this week what the title is. However, we do know it is the only Dave Filoni directed episode this season. So, Chapter 9, The Marshal, was Jon Favreau. Chapter 10, The Passenger, was directed by Jon Favreau. So the first 3 episodes... Oh, no. Okay. Let me rephrase that. Jon Favreau directed Episode 9, The Marshal, and he wrote Episode 9. Chapter 10, The Passenger, was directed by Peyton Reed and written by Jon Favreau. Chapter 11, The Heiress, was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, who did an amazing job, and was written by Jon Favreau. Chapter 12, The Siege, was directed by Carl Weathers, who did an amazing job, and I think I loved it. I loved how he did it. It was written by Jon Favreau. So Jon Favreau has written the first 4 episodes of this series. The next episode, chapter 13, which is right now everybody's saying is called The Jedi. This is the only episode this season that is not only written by Dave Filoni, it's also directed by Dave Filoni. So, this is the episode that I feel will be where we will meet Ahsoka. Because like I said last week, I don't think they would do Ahsoka in another episode. And the remaining episodes have been written by, Chapter 14 will be Jon Favreau. Chapter 15 is Rick Famuyiwa. I can't say that name. And the final episode is also Jon Favreau written. So this is The Jedi. If I'm just calling it The Jedi. I haven't confirmed it yet. That is the only episode that, as of right now, is both written and directed by Dave Filoni. And like I said, I do not think they will do an Ahsoka debut in an episode that Dave Filoni is not at the very least, directing. Seeing him being listed as both the writer and director for the episode makes me feel about 80 to 90% sure at this point that Chapter 13 this week's episode actually is where we will see Ahsoka. So, again, don't take what I'm saying as gospel truth, but just seeing that this week's episode is being both written and directed by Dave Filoni, I feel somewhat confident in saying that we will see Ahsoka this week. So, yay, I'm so excited. So, you guys, as always, tell me down below what you guys thought of this week's episode, The Siege. Did you like it? Was it awesome? Did you like it more than The Heiress or less than The Heiress? What did you think of the fact that for part of the episode, there really wasn't a lot of the Mando actually? That whole chase sequence was just Cara and Mithril and Creep, and we didn't really see him for I want to say about 5 to 10 minutes. There was no Mando or child. So what did you guys think about that? Also, tell me you guys upcoming thoughts about this upcoming episode that will be dropped this Friday. Do you think it will be the Ahsoka episode? Do you think the title is actually The Jedi? And what are your expectations for that episode if this is the episode where we see Ahsoka? So let me know what you guys are thinking, and let me know what you guys think of the season overall. We're actually almost done. There's only 8 episodes. And so we're halfway through the season. So we're almost done at this point. So tell me what you guys think. Is this season better or worse or about the same as season 1 so far? So as always, tell me what you guys think down below. And if you like this video, don't forget to give me a big old thumbs up and click subscribe to let me know to keep doing what I'm doing. As a reminder, I will post a recap/review of this week's episode of The Mandalorian so long as I get between 6 and 10 views on this video. So make sure you guys are watching so I can do a recap of this week's episode because I really, really think it's going to be the Ahsoka one. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm hoping you're all staying safe, healthy, and sane. I'm sending you all lots of love, hugs, and prayers. May the Force be with you because this is the way. Bye, guys.